You can come into this room where goodness flows. Fill your cup till it overflows. You will find just what you need to make it through. Loud joy, hope, and healing. Morning tea with goodness. Hey, morning tea with goodness. Morning tea with goodness.
Hey family, this is Olaundra with Old Destiny Productions, and welcome to Morning Tea with Goodness, the place where we share all things goodness that will help you be well spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So I hope you brought your cup because I definitely brought the tea with goodness. Blackwells,
Yeah.
how y'all doing?
What is going
What's going on?
What is
Y'all,
going on?
this is the cup with goodness today, y'all. We are talking about the chapters of love, and we're going to dive into the chapters of love regarding the Blackwell family. How y'all doing, family?
Doing good.
Are y'all happy to be in the room of goodness on
Hey.
today?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I've
It's
been
a
waiting
great
to
day.
get y'all in the room so we can talk, and spread some love. How about that?
Sounds good.
It
That
sounds good. How you
That
feeling,
sounds good.
sis?
I'm feeling good.
Y'all, this family
This-
family right
yeah,
here.
I'm
This
feeling
family.
Yes, this big
This
sis.
family.
This big sis.
So let's talk. We are 21 years.
Yep.
And I believe we have an anniversary, June the
28.
28th.
Yes.
22 years
22 years.
and counting.
And counting.
Say that again.
And
Counting. So before we get to 21 and 22, I wanna go back some. I wanna go back to the first encounter with Miss Golanda Walton. Is that right?
Yep.
The first meet with Golanda Walton and Shawn Blackwell. Can y'all take us back 20-something years ago and go back to that season, that
Wow.
chapter?
That's a long time, sis.
Just go back to the first time you saw her or knew of her. Just tell us about that.
Ooh, so you want to hear from me first?
We can go to you first, bro. However you want to bring it.
Man. Okay, well, I'm going to try not to make this story long.
Just give a glimpse.
Okay,
Just of
okay,
that first.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the first time I saw her.
Because you know we taped it.
Okay, gotcha. My dad and her dad was pastoring in the same district, up in Toccoa, Georgia. And the very first time that I saw her was at church. I was walking by I remember the church being crowded that day, but she stood out among the crowd. And
Stood out.
She stood out. Like she stood out among the crowd.
Okay.
I stopped and I turned and I looked, and she kept walking, and I could just see her backside. Not that I was, looking at the. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But I said, I don't know. She looks older. And
Is this older than you, bro?
no.
Okay.
But it was just the way.
Yeah, the way she carried
Just
herself.
the way she carried herself, it's the way she dressed, the way she carried herself. So you don't have to dress provocative and all that to stand out. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was the first time that I saw her, and we ended up meeting at a restaurant. Our parents were, the Sunday dinner, and we were there, and I caught her eyes, she caught mine, and the families have to get up and go shake the hands of pastors and all that good stuff. So that was my opportunity to go on over there.
They both come from pastor homes.
Yeah.
Both of their parents are pastors.
And so I got up, went over there. I said, "Aren't you Golanda?" She's like, "Yeah, aren't you Shawn, right?" Yeah. So we talked, and for a little while we exchanged numbers, and here we are today.
What was that like for you first time that you saw Shawn Golanda?
I guess the first time I just saw this bubbly, like he was just real bubbly. I think it's good. He was real bubbly, and I noticed that he couldn't keep his eyes off me.
It still is bubbly.
Yeah, it still is. He couldn't keep his eyes off me, and because he couldn't keep his eyes off me, I couldn't keep my eyes off him. What are you looking at? What you? But yeah, I thought of him as very respectful, very forward, and not really. I could tell that he was interested right away. not really playing any games or anything like that.
Okay. So when did you know? Because I'm sure you had dated before Golanda, and you had dated before Shawn. Since you got the mic, sis, when did you know that it was just something different about this man? It was something extraordinary from all the other guys that you had dated. When did you know there was just he was giving you possibly husband, maybe?
Honestly, I knew that he was the one when we first met because I was the one that the church girl that was scared to go the next step in a relationship. You know, I was very set on and determined to keep myself from marriage. And all the other guys were like, you know what, she ain't trying to do that. Let me go and do what I got to do. So, but this one here, you know, of course, I could tell he was interested in a lot of different things, but that wasn't priority for him.
Okay. And
that's what showed me that he was different than everybody else. And I kind of drew closer and closer to him because of that. And even more close to him after I had my daughter.
How he treated Ebony.
Yes, and he was from day one.
When did Shawn enter your life? How old was Ebony?
Ebony was about 6 months when he met her.
And it was an immediate
connection. We weren't dating at the time though, because we actually, when we first got together in high school, we broke up, and then we reconnected after I had Ebony. And so we were still friends, but we weren't together. But he still treated Ebony as his own from day one.
I love. How about you, bro? When did you know that it was just something different about? I don't know. This may be my wife. Like, what's something's hitting different.
Well,
if you can think that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's real easy.
Oh, okay.
You know, we were just talking about when we first met, when the parents and all, we was at the restaurant. Okay, when we finally got a chance to talk on the phone, that's when I knew. She was different, like totally different from anybody that I ever dated, anybody I ever talked to. The way she carried herself, the way she talked, the way she moved, like the whole 9 yards.
She blushing over there.
So
your wife blushing.
She moved, and everything came out of her as wife. She moved as a wife. She talked as a wife, and that's so important. And us men, we know when we are looking for wives, and when we are looking for that woman, we know just by being around them and seeing them, and
so
it just oozes out of them.
You knew then. It wasn't something that you had to grow into.
No.
Even though marriage has been a growing process, but you knew. How long did you guys date before you decide, okay, let's do this?
The very first time we dated was in high school. We broke up, and we ended up getting back together the start of my career, of my trucking career. Ebony at the time was just born. She was just a few months old.
Okay.
So we decided to get back together.
About a year.
Yep, about a year.
How old were you guys?
I was 22. He was 23.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So at the time we got back, we decided to get back together. We got back together and we dated probably another 6 months before I decided to propose to her, and the proposal happened. And quickly after that, probably another 6 months, we were married.
Yep.
We were engaged in March of 2003. By June, we were married.
Yeah.
Wow, that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Because so I know it's a lot. We talk about y'all 21 years. So 21 years of marriage. Let's still go back some.
Okay.
So 22.
It'll be 22 years this year.
But you guys got married at what age?
22,
I was 23. She was 22.
Okay, so I'm sure still dealing with finances and everything else. Do you believe, because everyone else is different, if I'm asked you to, do you believe that everything has to be 100% solid before you take the next step?
Oh wow.
Financially, what is financially, spiritual? I mean, all the You know, because some people, they won't pull the trigger unless everything is like solid.
In my opinion, no. Because there's never going to be a perfect time to get married.
Talk about it.
However, you can be more prepared than we were at 22 and 23. We were still pretty much kids. Although I had a daughter, I was still growing in some areas.
Yeah.
And I was raised in a two-parent home. So marriage was familiar to me, but I didn't know how to be a wife. So I had to grow into that. So yeah, I think there's not ever good time to get married, but you can definitely try to be more prepared. Get the wise counsel and stuff like that before marriage. That's what I would advise.
Yeah, I agree. We did it. We were not all the way wrapped tight. It wasn't a pretty package. We just knew that we loved one another, and we wanted to start our family, and we wanted to be with each other, and we wanted to be married.
And it was a blended family.
And it was a blended family. And we didn't see no reason of waiting any longer, being without each other, because it was just that burning desire to be with one another. So so my advice would be, I would say no, it doesn't have to be wrapped perfect.
Okay.
So
I like that. Okay, so fast forward. Chapter 21, approaching chapter 22, the chapters of love. 21 years of for better, for worse. 21 years of sickness and health.
That's right.
21 years of to love and to cherish till death do us part. 21 years, y'all.
21.
And counting.
And counting.
What has been the glue of 21 years? Wow. And we know God. We know God. But what's been like, but let's dig a little bit more.
Wow, the glue of 21 years.
The glue.
Oh, man.
Like, we know God, he's the core of definitely.
I would say, yes, God is definitely the core. With that being said, commitment. Being committed to the vows. Being true to vows. Sickness and health. Good or bad. Ups and downs. Until death do you part. Those things are for real. We were just talking about this yesterday. Those things are for real. But some people just take them as, it sounds good. Like, it sounds good. The preacher's saying it. It's just all mushy. But there's going to come times where those vows are for real. They are tested. And they are for real. So I would say, for me, just committed to no matter what, we're not divorcing. We're gonna stay together through everything. My vows to God and to my wife that I made on that day has to be number one, and it has to be your leading and your guiding way.
Eugene?
For me, I think it's the ability to allow grace to lead us through this journey.
Talk about grace.
Grace, forgiveness, determination. Just like you said, just piggyback on that. We were determined, like even from day one, to just push through, no matter what we're faced with, push through. And then dying to self and being selfless so that we can realize what he needs and what I need from him, instead of our own selfish desire needs. Putting that spouse first. That has been what's really brought me to this point. There's been some hard times, very hard times, but we've been able to push through because we pull back on that grace. We got to pull on that grace. The same grace that we want God to extend to us, we have to give to each other. And that's hard at times, but we just have to be determined to make it work.
So let's stop there. Let's stop at that chapter. You said because we both know marriage is work, y'all. I've been married before divorce. I know marriage is work. You guys talked about some hard times. So let's talk about those waters, if we can. Throughout 21 years, I'm sure everything hasn't been peach and cream and strawberries and cake and red velvet cake and everything. I'm sure there's been some waters crashing and storms raging. Just a lot. What did you guys do, if we can, those challenges that you guys had in your marriage? For one, I know there's been challenges because, you know, marriage is work. Let's talk about it. Those challenges that you guys maybe have faced. Let's talk about the biggest challenges, because I'm sure there's been several, but what has been maybe one of the biggest challenges in your marriage that you guys had to face together, and how did you guys get through it?
Well, like you said, we had many challenges.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say one of our biggest challenges, it was probably just knowing what our roles were as husband and wife.
As husband and wife.
Right.
Okay.
And understanding the roles, because we clashed a lot. We clashed a lot when it came to the roles and responsibilities of our roles. So that was one of the biggest challenges, and how we navigated through that over the time and over the years was humbling ourselves and knowing that, okay, there's help out there.
That's good.
There's help. And you know, sometimes us men, we have so much pride that we don't want to reach out for help. Like, I'm the man, I'm not supposed to be going through this, or I'm not supposed to be having problems or issues.
Yeah.
But you know, when I finally humbled myself, and my wife did the same thing, to reach out for help, there's help. There's people that God will put in your path that will help guide you along. So just seeking wisdom on how to be a better husband in that leadership role. And my wife was the same way, as about how to be a better wife in her submissiveness role. Like, what does that look like? How does that, how does that work? And as far as the man in your leadership role, how does that work? Is that dictatorship, or is it partnership?
I want to just add on. That was one of our biggest struggles, because when we first got married, we were trying to implement everything that we saw in our parents' marriage in our marriage. So I wanted him to be to me like my dad was to my mom. He wanted me to be like his mom was to his dad. And that doesn't work. We had to realize quickly, and we really didn't realize it quickly. It took us years to realize this, that what works for one marriage may not work for another. And we are totally different people with different needs, with different love languages, all this stuff. So going into our marriage, because we did not know how to be married or how to be a wife or husband, we clashed because our roles were switched. I spent years leading our marriage, and he spent years, in bitterness with me, and vice versa because of that. So we clashed a lot. We've been through so much with that part.
Oh, yeah.
Been through clash, so crossroad. Was there ever a moment in your marriage, 21 years, that you guys were at a crossroad where I think I'm about to leave?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Real? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, baby.
Well, I think the biggest crossroad that we experienced was around 2020.
Year of the pandemic?
Yeah, year of the pandemic. Like, literally, all hell broke loose in our house. And we're not ashamed to talk about it today. I thought we would never be able to, but we are here today, and we're okay with it. Okay. So we discovered, as a few years, my husband is a driver by career. So he spent years on the road driving for trucking companies, and then one specific job was driving as an entertainment driver. Okay. So on the road, some things happened. When he stayed 2 months out at a time, we already weren't on a great, wavelengths with each other. So things happen with his side, and then later on, things happen on my side because of bitterness and anger. So that was when we discovered all that stuff in 2020. That was our time to say, hey, might as well just go ahead and call it quits.
Oh, wow.
Because
there wasn't no forgiving.
Right,
no.
right. I mean, I was at a point where I'm like, you know what? Everybody in my life has done this and that, and so I'm not gonna forgive this. I'm married to this, you know what I'm saying? But I thought about it, I'm like, I'm not perfect either. I've done and said some things that weren't right, and I felt at one point I was so bitter and angry I couldn't even see where I played a part in everything. So I couldn't see myself. You know what I'm saying?
You were just pointing the finger at him, but not at you.
Yeah. And so when God allowed me to sit down long enough with him and really show me myself, that was when the turning point came for me. Like, you got to extend grace. Like, if you want grace from me, the same grace that I give you, you got to extend it to your husband. He has to extend it to you. It's hard. It don't even seem real sometimes when you're going through it. Like, we ain't gonna make it through this. But we sought help. We sought, for counseling, and we took it serious.
The moment of the moment that it happened, was it revealed? Did you share it with her? Did you talk it with her? What happened that you decided, you know what, I can't hold this anymore, I need to tell you, or did she find out on her own?
Yes, I revealed it.
Oh, you revealed it?
Yes. I came clean. Once I came clean, everything came out.
You just couldn't hold it anymore?
No. It was, looking back on it, it was, man, that thing was probably going to kill me if I didn't, because she had to come pick me up one time because I'm riding down the interstate and I-95 turned upside down.
It was wearing on you that?
Yes, because I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't getting any rest.
So let me interject. It didn't happen. He didn't tell me right away when it happened. It was a few years.
Right.
Okay.
So it wasn't right away.
Okay, it wasn't right away.
Right.
Okay.
So, but as years, I think I came clean in 2020.
Happened in like 2017.
Yes. 2017, came clean in 2020. And excuse me. Just remember that time it was hard. It was hard to navigate. It was just it's just something I just couldn't shake. I was like, I need to come clean.
Okay.
Need to come clean. And I remember in the book of James, which that verse helped me. Say, confess your sins to one another, so you may be healed. And when I tell you that thing pierced my soul, and I said, okay, God, okay. So I just remember the day I sat down and so we sat down and I came clean, and there was a lot of tears, a lot of emotions at that time. Yeah. But and then like she said, later on, she ended up coming clean, and it was just it was just forgiveness. We had to be walked through it. We had to be walked through it.
Tell everyone the process of the walkthrough. What did that look like for both of you guys? I'm sure tears. I know that.
For me, walking through it was a lot of fussing and cussing.
Keep it real.
I'm just real. I'm always raw and real.
Yeah, this is an open space.
Yeah. I just fussing, cussing, throwing stuff. Everything. Just being able to express that part of me. I'm always about allowing myself to be human. Even the word of God tells me I can be angry, I just can't sin. And so I'm like, sometimes it's hard not to sin when you're angry, but in those moments, like, you just have to do what you have to do. And then that's when I knew I needed help. So of course I confided in friends that were close to me, and some family members. And then there was one scripture that one of my friends shared with me, She said a wise woman builds her house. I
But
can't remember exactly where it is right now. But
a
a
wise
foolish woman tears it down. And it's not talking about the bricks and mortar and all that stuff. We can build our house with our tongues. We can build our house with our kindness. We can build our house with long suffering, the fruits of the spirit.
Yeah.
Everything about, if I say I'm of God, I can't just tell people about, you know, what he does and how he reacts, and I don't apply it to my own life. Because everything that we do and say, it's going to be tested in our own lives at some point. I've learned that too. But I've also learned that everything that I go through is not even for me, it's for other people to know that if it happened to you, it can definitely happen to me, but I can go through it and I can hold on and it'll be better on the other side.
Yeah.
So that's what it looked like for me. I was very torn. I went through a very dry season in that, and I just needed to be renewed in a lot of areas, and God did it for me. He did it. I mean, with resources, with people, a lot of reading, a lot of meditations, all that stuff, but He did it. He did it, and He allowed me to see Him in a different light, because He's not the same man that He used to be. He's not the little boy that I married. I'm not the little girl that he married. And a lot of times I realize these are growing pains. Like some things have to happen, to allow you to kind of peel away some things so that you can grow into really who God wants you to be.
Yeah. How about you, bro? What did the process look like for you? You know, of course, I know you didn't want to hurt Golanda. Then you was afraid, oh my God, will she leave me? I remember sometimes you was calling me sis, you know, and hearing you cry was both of you guys, hearing you both cry, breaking my heart. What did that look like for you, the process? What did you have to go through?
It was, you know, at the time it was a lot of shame and guilt. A lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of anger, regret. And know that I needed help to be able to walk through it. I knew I couldn't walk through this, you know, through that by myself. It was painful. It was probably definitely one of the hardest things I ever had to walk through. Was in our marriage was this, and we've been through a lot of things, but this was by far the worst. Absolutely, this was by far the worst that we ever had to go through. There was a lot of ups, a lot of downs, more downs than ups during that time.
Yeah.
But later on, as we connected to counseling, and one particular place that we connected with was World Changes, their marriage ministry. That was the turning point.
That was the turning point?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was the major turning point in our marriage, because now we get a chance to spend time with real-time couples.
Thank you to World Changes Church Marriage Ministry.
Yep. It was...
You're looking at y'all fruit.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, it was wonderful. The leaders, it was no judgment zone. It was, hey, we've seen it all. So y'all's situation is not unique to you guys. We've seen it all. They've dealt with blended families, the infidelity, you name it, finances issues, hatred, addictions, the whole 9 yards. So we knew that. We felt comfortable being a part of that, because we was like, hey, we're part of an organization or a part of this type of ministry that's a no judgment zone. Yeah. Like, hey, these are just regular people just like we are. So yeah, that was being a part of that marriage ministry was the turning point. Intimate Encounters was
What's the name of it again?
Intimate Encounters.
Okay.
Was the program that they took us through. We ended up taking that class.
Okay. How long was the class?
That class was 3 months.
3 months.
Yes. It was 3 months. It was, a couple of hours, 1 day a week.
And they were checking with you guys, accountability.
Yep.
We went through with one other couple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went through it with one other couple at the time. And that class, there's always a root cause to everything. You know, there's always a root cause. And that class helped us understand the root cause. We got a chance to see each other where we come from. What caused where we are, you know, at that time. So that class really just changed our whole life. It changed our marriage. It changed our trajectory. And I think that if we did not go through that, we wouldn't be what we are today. So the biggest thing to take away from this for me is the willingness to not give up. Me and her never gave up at the same time. That's good. We never gave up at the same time. One maybe had one foot out of the door. Because the other one may he gonna sleep upstairs. The other one may had 2 feet in, and then I may had 1 foot out the door, and then she changed and she had 2 feet in. So neither both of our feet were out of the door at the same time.
Neither.
So
God was still sitting in it.
He was still sitting in it. You know. So yeah, that's my biggest.
So
takeaway.
now, present day, are there any triggers? You know, even though you guys have gone through this process of forgiveness and probably still going through the process of healing, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys have any triggers that certain things we just can't talk about? Everything is good.
I don't have any triggers when it comes to her. I mean, I don't. Okay. I don't know about my situation to her, but I know for me, for her, no, I don't have any triggers. Okay. I can care less about what happened.
All right, G.
I wouldn't say that they're not triggers. Okay. I think that I'm healed enough to handle the triggers as they come. They don't invade me and take over me anymore. I'm healed on that. You know, it is what it is.
That's right.
I can honestly say I thank God for what happened to us, because if it did not happen, we would not have been here.
Right.
Of course, nobody wants to think about your mate with somebody else or anything like that. But hey, weak moments, when we're out of the will of God, that stuff will tear you apart. And so, for me, triggers do come every now and then, but they don't take me, they don't overtake me.
That's right. That's right. How have you all grown individually in marriage and as one in marriage?
You want to go?
Brother?
You got the mic.
Okay, individually, I think I've grown to the point where I knowing my role as his wife, I'm no longer quick to speak. I'm slow to speak. I am always asking God to help me to process things, or help me to get an understanding on some things before I assume what he means by stuff or whatever's going on. I ask God to just show me. You know, I'm always looking for ways to do better on things in regard to him and our marriage as well. Collectively, I think we've grown where we communicate more, we communicate better. We always seek out time for date night, and times to reconnect, and just to make a difference, because
pause there. Is date night important when you're married?
Oh, absolutely. Very important. We try to get it in as much as possible. I don't think last time we went on a date. Last night.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. We went on a date last night. I'm talking about like a outside type thing. But we date like at least once a week.
Okay.
We do. Yeah.
Same question to you, bro.
Well, let's see.
How have you grown individually as Shawn the man and Shawn the husband, and how have you grown as one together?
Well, as Shawn as an individual, I've grown into my God-given role as a man and as a husband. And just taking taking initiative and taking leadership as Christ guides me, as the Holy Spirit guides me. I seek God for guidance.
Yeah.
I seek God for wisdom. And my biggest thing is my pride is got to be like down here. God has got to be up here. So I can't lead effectively, and I can't be the man that God has called me to, or the husband God's called me to be, without his guidance. God has laid it out, and I just always ask God, give me wisdom. How do I do this? How do I be a better husband? How do I be a better leader?
Yeah.
It's not anything I try to lead on my own understanding about, because I don't have the answers. My answers led to where we were 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
So learning that I don't have the answers and that I can always seek help and seek God has been tremendously life-changing in my life as far as a husband and as a man. Knowing that leading my wife is not about me dictating or beating her down, or hey, I'm the man, you do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. But it's about leading with love, compassion, taking the initiative, and just leading by example.
I love it. That's good, bro. Would you say that you guys love each other more today than you guys did 21 years ago? And I'm sure you do, but talk about it.
Yes. Now I want my wife to speak about her own, but for me,
But for you.
Yeah. Yes. My love for my wife has grown stronger over the years. Yes. So the answer would be yes. It definitely has.
Gee.
Yeah. I feel like I have a deeper love for him. And it's not all about like surface stuff. This is deep love, because the way that, like I said, he's not the same man. He's not the same person that I grew to know back then. I know him in a different light now. And I'm pretty sure he probably would say the same for me, because we talk about it all the time, how we both have changed over the years. And a lot of time, maybe it took growth, maybe it took just maturity. Maybe it took the things that we've been through, finances, bankruptcy, losing this, losing that, and then the other storms that we've been through. Maybe it took all of that to get us to this place. But yeah, I can honestly say I love this man with everything in me.
And speaking of love, I'm sure you guys are intentional with sowing each other's love language into each other's lives. So, bro, what's Golanda's love language? Or love languages?
Her top love language is acts of service. That's probably her top is acts of service.
Number one?
Yeah, I would say that, and then I would say a close number two would be. Let's see.
You got physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, and we're missing
physical
one.
touch.
Gifts. Yeah.
Gifts. Gifts for her would be on down the line, but I would say number one would definitely be acts of service. And what I've learned to do in that, if I come home and just make the bed,
Talk about it.
fold some towels,
Fold some clothes,
and some bath clothes, and maybe put a load of towels or something in the washer. Or maybe cook something.
Yes.
That stuff right there
It woos her over.
does it for her.
Okay.
It does. I'm talking about she would come in the house.
Do the look again.
Babe, you made the bed.
You sound like Golanda.
Babe, you already folded the towels.
Tell her business.
I'm like, yeah, I done that. You know what I'm saying? For you, I'm like, baby, it ain't just your job to do that.
Yeah.
So that's part of leading too.
Leading,
now
yes.
it's just leading by example. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's that's our love.
How about you, Golan? What's Mr. Shawn's love language or languages?
What are they again?
You have gifts, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, and quality time.
I think words of affirmation and respect would be his top love language, because for so many years there was none. So yeah, me sending him a text, baby, you know you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I love you deeply, whatever. And just that right there alone, it just opens up, like it takes him to a whole nother level. I'm like, wow, yeah. So just being able to not just say that, but then do it, you know, respect him and submit to him. Years ago, I didn't want to submit because I didn't have anything to submit to that I could trust. But now I can honestly say that I can submit and respect him because I know that he hears from God. I know he spends time with God, and I know that he's intentional about his role in what he does for us in our family. So yeah. Well, am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Y'all, we talking about 21 years.
It is words of affirmation.
21 years. I want you guys to do something a little bit different. I was talking to a previous couple not too long ago, and I asked them the same question, different dynamic. So with you guys, 21 years, like I said, you guys have been through a lot, but you still are here. You still are trusting God for the next and the next and the next. To death, what? Do us part. That's where we are, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Shawn, I'm gonna start with you first. If you can look into that camera, and I want you to speak to that brother who maybe experienced some things that you experienced, infidelity or whatever it looks like, and going through some things, and maybe he's torn, he don't know what to do, he's scared. I want you to talk to that brother and speak to his heart on today, and talk him through that process, like, bruh, you know, do this and the healing part and all of that.
Okay.
To encourage marriage. Like, he's at the point where, you know, I might as well just leave because ain't no need of me doing this.
Gotcha. First of all, I would like to say that marriage is honorable. The reason it's honorable because it was designed by God, but it's only designed to work one way, and it's only his way. He's the designer, he's the creator. So seeking God on how to navigate through marriage is very vital. You have to do that. Don't lean on your own understanding, but in all your ways, lean on him, and he'll direct your path. Now, that's one of the biggest things that I would tell you. Don't give up on marriage. We didn't give up. What we've been through, a lot of people didn't make it through. But we chose to not give up, and it has to be by a choice. See, marriage is not about feelings. It's not about emotions. And me and my wife say that all the time. It can be accompanied by feelings. It can be accompanied by emotions, but it can't be led by your emotions. So give you an example. So you guys may be into it quite a bit, where your emotions is going to tell you that, hey, I done married the wrong person. This is not the person that I married 5 years ago or 1 year ago, or whatever that may be. Don't be led by your emotions in that time. Because your emotions is going to lead you the wrong way. Don't be led by that. Seek help. There's help. There's people that can help walk you through whatever problems that you're going through. Hey, they walked us, through our problems. But being humble, you have to humble yourself. Being in marriage, you have to be humble and be willing to be spoken into, and be willing to be guided and led in situations that you don't know. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you know everything. Just because you're married 5 years, 10 years, 15. I know some people that's been married for 40, 50 years still don't know everything. It's not about knowing everything, but it's about growth. It's about growing together, and it's about the journey. Marriage is the journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Oh, I'd say that again. Say that again. It's a
Marriage is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
That's good. That's a whole message. How about you, G? What would you say to the woman who is at crossroads in her marriage? Speak
I would
to her.
say to the woman who is at a crossroad in her marriage, keep people out of your ear. The wrong people in your ear about your spouse will tear you away further and further and further apart from him. If you have a good man, now this is very substantial. If you have a good man, don't allow one or maybe a few mistakes here and there to cause you to make a decision about something a lifetime decision about for a temporary thing. No, because mistakes happen, things happen, but we can move forward from it. You can get past that if you want to. My thing is this, going back to having the wrong people in your ear. People can say one thing about you in your marriage, and they make you think that they are for your marriage, but they won't be. A lot of them aren't. So use wisdom, use discernment, and who to go to, who to talk to. I know that you're going to have to talk to somebody because you can't keep all those feelings inside. But just know that you and your husband are a team, and you have to be determined not to let anybody come against your team and tear you apart. Work together. I guess that's pretty much it.
Keeping it safe.
Yeah, keeping it safe, keeping it like tight, with the people that you know are for you and for your marriage. Everybody's not going to be for your marriage. You got some girlfriends that you might have to even lay to the side because they ain't going to be they're going to have you out all night trying to do this, and you need to be at home with your husband. Whatever it is, you have to be intentional about making your marriage work. Also, don't ever let yourself go. Also, with your husband, you're going to be married, but you also have to keep yourself. Make sure that you make time for yourself. Make sure that you're eating right, you're working, whatever, spending time to yourself. A lot of times we as married women, we lose ourselves and our kids and our husbands so much that later on we have nothing to give. So be intentional about your relationship with God and relationship with yourself, and then you'll be better off for your children and your husband.
Since you have the mic, I'm going to ask you this question. What would you say to the younger version of Golanda, is it Walton?
Walton.
Golanda Walton, before marriage, before 21 years, the things that you know now about love, the chapters of love, what would you say to her?
Whew. Wow. Keep a firm foundation. I think that's what I would tell the young Golanda. Keep your foundation firm. Know and give yourself permission to be human.
I need you to say that. Give yourself what?
Give yourself permission to be human.
Yeah.
But keep a firm foundation. If you stay close to your foundation and stay on that foundation, you won't be moved. Nothing will move you. And even if you go away sometimes, you're going to stray away. You're going to do some things that you shouldn't do, or say some things that you shouldn't say, be places that you shouldn't be. But if you got that firm foundation, I promise you, God will keep you. He will keep you rooted in Him. Give yourself permission, but always stay on that foundation.
Shawn, what would you say to the younger version, my younger brother? What would you say to him after all that you've gone through? 21 years, you've grown as a man, and you have grown as a father. You've grown as a husband. What would you say concerning the chapters of love if you had to speak to him?
Speak to
that younger. What would you say
myself?
To him? Yeah, what would you
myself?
say to him? That younger version of Shawn, now knowing everything that you know about love. What would you say to him?
Oh man. I would say to him I probably would say to him, You know what? I don't know.
Yes, I see. It's on the tip of your tongue. It's on the tip of your tongue.
Man, I don't.
You know
I don't
what?
know.
What would you say to a younger version of Shawn?
What I say to
Yeah,
the
let's.
younger
Yeah, what
version
would
of
you
Shawn?
say? Since he don't know, what would you say to a younger version of Shawn?
Let me think about it.
Uh-huh.
Let me think about it.
All that he's gone through, all that you've seen and witnessed, in him growing, things that he may didn't know. You talked about the root earlier.
Yeah. I think I would say hold on, because there's something great on the other side of this. No matter what you go through, hold on. No matter what life and love brings, hold on. Because there's joy, there's love, there's hope, there's healing on the other side
God
of
is
this.
still building you.
Yeah. Like you may not feel adequate, or you may not feel like you're enough right now as young Shawn, but God will continue to reveal who you really are in Him if you hold on.
That's good. Well, I can't let y'all go. One more question, because one more. You know, your sister is single, but I'm single. But I know that my husband, he's out there, and he will find me. We will find each other in a season of waiting. But while I'm waiting, I am expecting. While I'm expecting, I'm believing, because I know that it will happen. Yes, been married, been divorced. Things happen, but that did not keep me from believing again. Has it been easy? No, but it's what I choose to believe, that one day it will happen for me. So can you, both of you guys, speak to that sister and that brother who are in their season of waiting? They're like, man, when is it going to happen for me? Like, I'm doing everything, I'm waiting, I'm out here looking good, smelling good, doing everything. I'm in the church. Oh, and like I was telling my other couple a couple of weeks ago, you know, sometimes we get caught up on where everybody's in the church. No. Because there are some wolves in the church too, right? Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I want you guys just to touch on, what would you say to her to encourage her heart, and what would you say to him to encourage his heart in the season of waiting, but waiting for marriage, and they know they're called to be married?
I think I'm gonna speak more on the man.
I want you to speak. Yeah,
okay.
I want you to
right.
speak to the man.
All right. So for the man, are you willing to work while you wait? And what I mean by that is, are you willing to work on you as an individual? Are you a husband? Number one.
Oh wow. That's good.
What does that mean? What does that look like? Are you a husband?
That's good, brother.
Or are you someone that has just maybe you playing around with it, so to speak? And what I mean by that is, you're like, well, maybe, you know, man, I think I'm about ready to settle down. No. Marriage is a desire. It is a inner core desire. It is not an afterthought. Yeah. It is the forefront, and it's something that you know that you want to do. So I would say, make sure that that's really your heart's desire, or do you feel like some kind of time ticking is happening, some kind of biological clock?
Yeah.
Did I say that
like,
right?
if I don't get married now, ain't gonna never
Right, if I
happen.
don't get married now, it can't be an after. It has to be a desire. It has to be a pursuit. It has to be a pursuit.
Yeah.
And are you willing to work while you wait? Work on you. There's plenty of books out there. There's plenty of people like that can help you to know your role as a husband. What that looks like, things like that. So I wish, even though I grew up in a two-family home, two-parent home, I wasn't brought through any type of counseling or anything before I got married. And I wished knowing what I know now, I wished I had of. Okay. So I'm just giving advice that I wish I had have done at an earlier stage before I got married, to what I would tell the man to do.
How about you, G? What would you tell her that's in the season of waiting and wanting to be married?
Yeah. I think I'll probably piggyback on something that he was saying. But I would say this is wait with preparation, not with desperation.
Repeat.
Wait with preparation, not desperation.
That's good.
When we wait on our mates with desperation, we're going to accept any and everything that comes our way.
Counterfeits.
We're going to accept things that look like it but ain't like. And I know that's not the right language to use, but seriously, when we wait with desperation, these men can smell desperation on us. So they continue to do whatever we want them to do for a while and then pull back. And then the real man shows up.
Oh, sis, you
So
in there.
I want you to wait with preparation, meaning preparing to be that wife for this man, preparing in your singleness to be that whole single person by yourself.
Yes.
It's not two people come together 50-50. He comes whole, you come whole. So that if he chooses to leave, you still whole.
You still whole.
Isn't that something? If he leaves, you still whole because you don't come in pieces. You come whole in that relationship. So I would say don't focus on the hashtags. I see on the marriage group all the time on Facebook. People, I need a hashtag. His last name is so and so. My last name is so and so. People's worried about more the hashtag than really what's gonna happen when you get married. Don't focus on the outward look of your marriage. Preparing for that. Prepare for your marriage. Not just the wedding day. The wedding day is all the bells and whistles. But what happens after that wedding day is really what's gonna take the key, sis. It's gonna make or break you as a human being and as a couple with your spouse. Yeah.
Give me one word to sum up 21 years for you. One word.
Wow. Oh, one word.
Besides God.
You wanna go
When
first?
you look at Shawn or when you look at Golanda, one word.
One word for me is perseverance. Perseverance. Determination. Stuff like that. Yeah, just persevere. We keep going. Keep going.
You, bro?
Grace.
Grace, perseverance, determination. Determination, perseverance, grace.
Yes.
Blackwell family, thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Thank y'all
Thank you
for
for having
coming to this space, for trusting this space. Like you said, this is the first time that you guys really just shared this in an open setting like this. For that, I'm honored because I realize it has nothing to do with me and Morning Tea with Goodness, but it's about to bless some others because I believe this is going to set some people free. It's going to heal some marriages, right?
Yeah.
Brother want to say something. It's on the tip of his
Oh,
tongue.
no.
I believe because this is what marriages need. They need transparency. We talk about things every day, but sometimes we don't get down to the meat. And I believe we need more of this so marriages can thrive, so marriages can heal, so marriages can be whole.
That's right.
So I just want to say thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank y'all for having us.
I'm so full. Thank y'all for coming to Morning Tea. We gotta do this again.
Oh yeah.
Morning
wanna-
tea. I had to say it. That's what I wanted to say.
Hey, is the tea good?
The tea.
Is the tea good?
Oh yeah. The tea is good, y'all. Trust me. The tea is good.
They don't know about it, but yeah, I make my tea homemade, so they're drinking some goodness as we speak. But thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming to the place. I'm forever grateful, and I pray that this message will pierce someone else's heart so they too can receive God's healing the way you guys receive God's healing. So family, thank y'all. I thank y'all for listening. It's my hope and it's my prayer that this message of goodness has added to you in some way and that your cup was filled. And if it was filled, because I know it was, I want you to share this. Share this with someone else so they too can experience God's goodness that will help them be well spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Until next time, family, I love you. Stay tuned.